are live. All right, go for it. What were you just saying? They won it in a great fashion. Absolutely, I agree.
Yes, they did not look like a flailing team.
And we're
They
talking about
looked
the
like they
Titans
meet
for
the
everybody
Titans.
that's just and for everybody that's just tuning in. We kind of just jumped right into it. So we're talking about the Titans and the way they went down the blaze of glory yesterday.
And they look smart doing it, in my opinion. I mean, sitting Derrick Henry out and letting him rest and playing the way they did. They didn't look soft. They looked good. I liked it. I'm excited by the Titans. I'm ready to get behind them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a strong performance, and there was a lot of times where it seemed like we were just ready to punch through and take the game over, and then we ended up giving it back. But it's still a really good team. So, I mean, it's one of the top teams in the NFC.
Yep.
You kind of throw up your best game and hope that it works. And to come out 10 points on the wrong side of it, I don't think that that's the worst thing in the world because we still have a chance to get in next week.
Yep. There could have been a lot more ugly for it not to be as important of a game. And, I mean, they could have just really let it be whatever. And I thought they didn't. It was nice.
No, they were. I mean, they were trying. I mean, next week, I'm still like me and Miles were talking before you came on, Mike. That I just don't see them beating Houston, dude. I just don't see. Houston still has to. They still have something to play for. Houston does. They still have to. They could possibly get the third seed. And to put out, a divisional opponent, you're going to want to do that. Just like the Ravens are going to want to put out Pittsburgh. Because you don't want a divisional opponent, in the playoffs with you.
Well, Pittsburgh's done. I don't think anybody's worried about Pittsburgh. They have two quarterbacks that can't play and one that's hurt. So now Hodges has got to tote the rock for the rest of it. And he's not really shown to be capable with it. I mean, getting off track. I think Houston is a team that doesn't show up every week. I think I've said that all season long. And, they're here a game and they're out a game. Then they come back for 2 games and they have a bad game. So they're due for one. They played Tampa Bay last week, and I thought that they were going to lose that game right up until the very end. And you got to think about that game. It was close. The whole game was so close. And Winston, I think, threw 5 interceptions.
Yep.
So if he had only thrown 4 interceptions, they may still have lost that game. I don't have a lot of faith in Houston. I think this is a very winnable game. And with everything on the line that it is, Houston may get to a point where in the second half they start to rest starters, even though, you do want to put out a division opponent. There is that possibility with it being week 17, and they don't have a lot extra to play for, especially if correct me if I'm wrong, is a Houston game like a late afternoon game?
Like game? Yeah. It's still a later game. Yeah, they just changed that. I want to say they just changed that yesterday too.
So if you have, they probably did. They flexed a lot of people in and out yesterday. So if you have a lot of results go a specific way early in the afternoon, it could influence some of this game.
Right. But I will say, J.J. Watt's supposed to be back for this game too.
For this game, really?
Yeah. From what I understand, I was reading about something about that earlier today. Has no one else heard that? If no one else has heard that, then I'm sure I'm wrong.
I haven't heard that.
I don't
I heard
come
it's
up with new
possible
stuff
for the playoffs, but I haven't heard about this week.
All right. See, I'm not. If y'all haven't heard it, I don't come up with new shit. I just repeat stuff that I've already heard.
It's possible. I don't know.
Man, Watson looked flat Saturday. He looked just awful. That whole team looked terrible, I thought. I couldn't believe it, how bad they looked. I think that the Titans are going to kill them. I really do. I think that they've lost some kind of whatever that they had, and it's the Titans. It's there for the taking.
It's definitely there for the taking. I don't disagree with that, but I just – given the Titans' track record, I'm sorry. I can't help but to be a skeptic when it comes to them.
It's easy to be a skeptic. I mean, it's like Miles said last week. I mean, you can never really bet on them. So if they're favored, you always take the other side. Or, if they're the underdog, then you always bet against them.
Yeah.
Or bet on them, I guess. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But you just don't really have any clue how it's going to go. I mean, they really should have won that game 2 weeks ago. They played well enough. So I think that they can pull through, maybe watch a little bit of tape and figure out what they did wrong to come out on the better side of this game. But you don't know what Houston team you're going to get. They could come out and boat race them by 40 points, or they might, they might turn the ball over 3 times straight out the gate. You just don't have any idea.
Well, defenses and running games do well in the playoffs.
The defenses
Houston doesn't have either right now.
No.
So
no. Who does have defense right now is the Titans and the Rodgers. I mean, Packers and the Vikings. I'm watching this right now. There's nothing but defense.
Yeah.
I mean, And we were talking about this last week, I believe. Miles, you brought this up. Aaron Rodgers is in the position he's in because of their defense, not because of Aaron Rodgers. Their record is solely based on their defense because he shouldn't even be in the Pro Bowl. Am I correct?
I believe that is correct. I would not put him into the Pro Bowl. No.
Yeah, I would agree. He's very off year for Aaron Rodgers, but he's still better than most quarterbacks, but off for him.
Yeah, no, it's definitely off for him. It would have been, a career year for a lot of the guys that are in the league right now, but yeah. I'm watching it. Yeah, it's on TV right now. I can't help it. Is anybody else watching this?
Yes, sir. This is I'm and I don't know what to do.
Well, it was my idea to do this podcast tonight because yesterday I got all wound up because I actually went to the Titans game yesterday.
Nice.
And no, not really. No. But that's how I am.
No, I agree with you actually.
No, I mean it was good. It was good. It was the last game of the season. But dude, there were so many Saints fans there. It was annoying. Like, remember when me and you went, Mike, and we thought there were a lot of Cincinnati fans? And there were. But, dude, they were louder than the Titans fans.
Wow.
The traveling teams always show up in droves at the Titans games, and that's what's aggravating. The other side of it, too, is most Titans fans, it's going to sound terrible, but they're conditioned to not go to games in November and December if they're season ticket holders, to turn around and sell those tickets. They still do that a lot. I mean, I'm still friends with a lot. My in-laws have tickets, and, you also have the other side of it. People have stuff to do in November, December with family and traveling and out of town. And, there are other markets. The Titans are one of the smaller market teams in the league, so they don't really have the benefit of like the playing for the home team all the time. And what I mean by that is like other teams, if you go to Pittsburgh, they kind of have a policy like we're only going to sell you these tickets if you're Steelers fans. We're not going to sell it to anybody else, the opposing team that comes in that week. Nashville's just not like that. We're probably about 5 or 10 years of some good football to really get to that point, try to drive that the fan passion to the point where they're willing to do that and not just take the quick buck or the easy sell.
I can't follow up with that on anything. I think that I agree 100%. I can't. Yeah, it's a solid argument, and I agree with it.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. All right, I'll pick up the stick, man. I know you're watching the AM. I don't have the feed in here.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So Eagles beat the Cowboys.
Yes.
Which, I had a feeling the Eagles were going to take them over. The Cowboys looked really flat the other day, and it's kind of like the Cowboys in the entire season. They can't get up for a big game at all. The big guys don't show up. Amari Cooper, I don't think had a catch, did he?
Nope. No. I had him on fantasy, and it was
yeah.
I lost on that one, but never mind that.
let's not.
We're here for you, man. That's a bad beat.
No. I've got a winning team right now too, so it's okay.
But yeah, I was again, I was concerned about Philadelphia and the receivers that they have or lack thereof, and they seem to make up for that. They seem to really play solid. Dallas Goedert, I think, is going to be a star in this league. Probably about a year or two away from really being a takeover starting tight end. He's moved Zach Ertz, one of the best at his position, off of the starting role, more or less. When they're both in there, Goddard's going to get the ball and not 86. So I think Wentz is starting to figure out that's his go-to guy. And Dallas, for whatever reason, couldn't figure out, which is more confounding than anything. And yet still, with all this, they still have a chance to get in if Dallas wins next week and Philadelphia loses at the same time. Yep. They both finish 8-8. Somehow Dallas gets the tiebreaker. But
yep. I think it's more divisional wins, isn't it?
What's that?
Don't they have more divisional wins?
Well, I think so, and most people would if you're in a division with Washington and the Giants. So it's very possible that they have more.
I disagree with the Giants. I think they're on the up and up right now. I mean, it's what's that fucking quarterback's name?
Jones.
Brown? Jones? Why did I say Brown?
Daniel Jones.
Dude, I mean, I think he can be something, dude.
I do too.
They've played really well the past few weeks. They've really turned it around up there, I think, and they are a team that is poised to play upset. So I definitely do not give this game to the Eagles whatsoever. I definitely give, which is probably wrong, but I give the Cowboys the victory over the Redskins.
I think that's actually an easier game to call than the victory for the Eagles over the Giants. I agree with you there, especially if Ertz is going to be out. There's a possibility right now that we're looking at. So I don't know, but I mean, if Ertz ends up playing, it's hard for me to deny the Eagles. I would not bet against them, even though that game might be tough, because they've had momentum at their side, behind them now, and their defense is strong. So we'll see. But I've liked the Eagles. I still like the Eagles. I think that if they get in, let me see, what was I looking at? That if going against the Seahawks, that's anybody's game.
Yeah,
It is.
that is.
I agree with you completely, man. I think if the Eagles make their way into the playoffs, they're going to beat somebody in the first round and really piss some people off and sway some gambling money to the other direction. I think if Dallas gets in, they're going to be a punching bag. So, I think for the Eagles to play the underdog.
If the Cowboys get in, I see them as one and done.
Yep.
Even though the game will be at home, I still do not see them making it past. Let's see.
No doubt.
Who's in the wild card spots right now? All right, Minnesota and the Seahawks. Yeah, no way. No way. I do not see Dallas giving either one of them teams a run for the money. I just don't.
No.
So
it'd be all for TV ratings, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cowboys are going to sell. That's going to get you ratings. That's going to sell tickets. People like the Cowboys. It's America's team, but
that's
whatever
all that matters.
Yeah.
Wins don't matter anymore. It's a great system he's got.
Yeah, no shit, right? Yeah. Dude, Dallas was in the shits when, Jerry Jones just completely lost his shit on that radio interview. That was great.
I love it. Jerry Jones is a great soundbite just waiting to happen to somebody.
Yep, absolutely, dude. I'm surprised there's not more memes with his old ass on them.
Do you guys remember, it was a couple years ago, he did an interview or something, and he came out and was using the term glory hole incorrectly?
Yes.
Ever since then, man, he's always good for 2 or 3 of these every year. And you're just waiting. Yeah. You're just waiting for the glory hole.
Yep, that is absolutely right. That is funny. So in the AFC, it's pretty much locked up as far as the seeding goes.
Yeah.
The top 2, I guess, and that's it. Am I wrong in saying that? So, all right, the Ravens clinched the AFC number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs with Sunday's win over the Browns. So that's that. And then New England's, they've clinched the AFC East title, but
I think it's them and Kansas City are fighting for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Kansas City, okay. And Kansas City, they got the Chargers next week, so they should be all right. Mm-hmm. And the Patriots have Miami, so
they've given them trouble in the past.
That you're right.
Yeah, Miami's not an easy out anymore.
No, they're not. I mean, didn't they just put an ass whooping on Cincinnati? But it was Cincinnati.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I mean, that was a close. I mean, at least it went to overtime. So.
Well, Cincinnati wanted to make a game out of it, and then they're like, okay, guys, we got to calm down. We got to lock up this number 1 pick, and we'll go on and play hard next week.
Right.
Man, on the other, as far as the other part of the wild card goes there, I'm looking at the Bills playing the Texans, and I think the Bills can win that game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, does anybody see a consistent theme I'm going with here is defense and running games? And the Bills don't have a solid running game, but their quarterback does enough to make it work.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills are a team that nobody wants to play because if the Bills come out and get a turnover and get like an early 7-10 point lead, they're going to sit on the other guys and hold that lead for the rest of the game. That's a team that's built to play with a lead. On the other side of it is, if you really get out in front of them, which is difficult to do because of their defense, I don't think that they're really built to catch up. Josh Allen made some really amazing plays. I don't know if you guys watched that game last week.
Yes.
He looked great. That were rainbows dropping out of the fucking sky right in these guys' hands, and it was amazing. Now he also had some overthrows. He's still kind of growing into the position at NFL level, but I think if they go downfield, they're as dangerous as anybody to try to get that one big play. If you have a team that's like that, they remind me of you remember like the 2009 and 10 Jets, the Rex Ryan teams that actually made some noise. Yeah. Those teams remind me a lot of the Bills now. They don't have the big names in there like your Darrelle Revis and LaDainian Tomlinson and whatnot, but you still have Tre'Davious White, who's the best cornerback in the league if you take Stephon Gilmore out, and you still have a really solid linebacking core, good pass rush, and a couple of backs. I mean, I wouldn't say that anybody really can tote the rock as an every down running back player, but they got a good rotation. And if they got up on Houston, or if they got in there with any of those other teams in the playoffs, they'd definitely be a tough out and could probably beat a team they're not supposed to.
David,
what? Sorry.
Thoughts, Bills.
Honestly, the way you were just talking there was, you pretty much described Minnesota, except for the quarterback position.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that you just said about Buffalo is the way I feel about Minnesota. And Minnesota, you're not hearing anybody talk anything about Minnesota. It's just like tonight. I was telling my brother, honestly, we got a really good quarterback battle going on tonight, and no one says shit about it, and they're still not even talking about it as it's going on. It's a 9-10 game. But
that's why they're not talking about it, because it's a 9-10 game. I mean, it's unfortunate that these quarterbacks aren't shining the way they should be on a Monday night. That's what I've seen. But
we know why Cousins isn't, but yeah, both of them, it's kind of odd.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cousins ain't because it's PM. He can't play when the clock reads PM anywhere.
Hey, he lost Dalvin Cook, man. And as far as you talking about the Vikings, without Dalvin Cook, I don't know how I feel about them. I mean, tonight's a pretty good example of how this game might go next. And it's close, but
it's close. But they're shutting down the Packers. They're shutting down. I mean, they've gotten 3 turnovers, which 2 turnovers were recovered by one dude, and he's out now with a quad injury. Can't remember his name because I'm terrible at that.
Rodgers is smarter than the other dude. What's his name?
Well, obviously, because
that's the way I feel about it, and it's going to come down to that.
It is coming down.
When you have 2 quarterbacks like that in a close game, that really is what it is. So I would give I'd give Green Bay this one hands down. Yep. But Cousins do, man. I know everybody's talking shit about Cousins never winning at night, and I've been wanting to talk shit too, but I think he's due. I think they get in the playoffs. I think it's all bets are off because, I mean, he's really been on the doorstep. He's had a lot of good games this season, and he's got a good team around him that if they can put up 21 points in the game, they can beat anybody.
Dude, he's had a lot of good games this season. I mean, he really has. His stats are up there with everybody else's. If not, he leads the league in something. I don't know. I saw it somewhere.
No, you're right.
And it's not interceptions. He actually is doing, good on that front too. Yeah.
They've got an offensive system that supports what he does. I feel like they don't ask too much of him, and he gets away with doing what they ask and does it well. I mean, I'm not trying to give any shade to the guy at all, but I feel like this game right here is showing me that, without this offensive power of Dalvin Cook, that everything comes back down to reality.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think their offensive coordinator is going to be a head coaching candidate this next season because they've really just plugged it all in. And you can see the growth of the team over the course of the year, too, so that they've played a lot better. I mean, it's almost hard to think that at the beginning of the season, everybody was talking about why don't they throw the ball at all? Why don't the receivers catch any passes? They were talking about at one point, trading Stephon Diggs, as crazy as that sounds, because he wasn't catching anything because nothing was coming at him. And what was the other guy? Thielen. Mm-hmm. He was pissed off because he wasn't getting any targets. And that was like the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Now here we are at the end. They're a playoff team, and everybody's getting along just fine. So, I mean, it's easy to start off hot and then get cold, but a team like this, it kind of has been able to maintain and then grow throughout the season. It's kind of fun to watch, honestly. Yeah. And I hate to see these teams that are so dependent on the running game because running backs, even Dalvin Cook, man, as great as he is, running backs are a dime a dozen. And to make your team so dependent on being able to get from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 7 and 3rd and 4 every single time, guys pick up on that, and then you don't get that far. You got to have a Kirk Cousins that can throw it on 3rd down.
Dude, Kirk Cousins' passer rating is like 111.
Yeah,
I mean, he's 4th in the league. However, I mean, the top 3 is, believe it or not, Ryan Tannehill leads with a 116.5, Drew Brees 115.7, and then Lamar Jackson at 13.3.
The top 3 guys are a bit more risk-taking than Cousins is as well. Because Cousins throws a lot of safe balls, a lot of the same routes over and over again. I like to do a lot of those crossers too, is where basically you just have Diggs and Thielen or whoever is on the field when Thielen's out. I know he hadn't played much this year. But those guys basically are just beating man coverage across the field, and he's just throwing safe balls.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's known for that. That's what he does. That's why he left where he did.
Yeah. All the guys that I mean, Tom Brady, safe balls. Aaron Rodgers, safe balls.
Yeah.
I mean, Jameis Winston's the only one keeping it real.
Real ugly.
Yeah. Oh, God, they could have won that game, dude. They came very close.
Mm-hmm.
If he throws 3 interceptions this next week, which we all know is very possible.
Very possible.
3 interceptions, he's the all-time single-season leader in interceptions.
Really?
Crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Well, it is an accomplishment. Let me
Well-
tell you why this is kind of a big deal. Because most guys that throw the main interceptions get yanked because they can't hold up the other end of the stat sheet. But he's filling up like every box on the Yahtzee sheet. I mean, this guy's thrown as many touchdowns as interceptions in a lot of games, and he's throwing a lot of interceptions in these games.
Mhm.
So it's kind of one of those things that's really hard to pull off. Although I've known some Brett Favre years where I thought he was gonna set the pace and hell, the Titans had a lot of quarterbacks too, but they just haven't been able to hang around that long.
He's got 28 interceptions right now. Wow.
He's breaking some record though up there with these guys. I can't remember what it was. I think most passing yards.
Yeah,
a
he's
short amount of
almost
time?
he's almost at 5,000.
Yeah.
He's at 4,908 right now.
And that's like in the company of some greats as far as like that quickly getting that done. I can't remember who it was, but he doesn't belong there.
No.
I'm sorry. He's a rapist.
Hey man, on here we call it like you see it.
Well, yeah, that's what just happened there. Oh, that was hilarious.
It's not just me. Apparently, there's a handful of these people that agree with this statement, and I don't know, man.
It's more than a handful.
It all.
I've never been a
points.
Winston fan. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and he's been Smokey the Bear pretty much since he's come out of college.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, all that aside, I mean, there's a hell of a lot of other undesirables in the NFL. Just Jameis Winston kind of seems like he's the one that doesn't get it. The rest of the guys at least try to make an attempt to better themselves, and Winston's just had roomfuls of people to apologize for him, all the time, which it to me is really confusing to me how he's been allowed to stay around this long. Like Mariota came out the same year as Winston, and Mariota's on the bench because his play hasn't really added up to where it needs to be. And you could really say the same thing for Winston, but nobody could put this guy on the bench. I mean, and it could be Tampa Bay as an organization just falling apart and failing to put somebody to compete with him. The closest they got was Fitzpatrick, and that only lasted like a couple of games.
Yeah, but those couple of games he tore it up there.
Yeah, Fitz was good that year.
Yeah, no, he was. No, I wouldn't go that far. He was good those few games.
Those few games. Thank you.
Yeah, he would not. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What the hell?
And I apologize.
No, I mean he's at least he's doing something down in Miami, sort of.
Growing that
Maybe.
beard.
Yeah, he's growing because that's real necessary in Miami. That's what you want. Oh wow.
Yeah, you just look like a hobo down there.
Oh yeah, no.
95 and I'm sweating and my beard's sticking to the back of my neck.
It's the only good thing. Yeah, no, that's terrible. That's just terrible. So who do y'all got for the first round of the playoffs?
I'm going to go with the Titans over the Chiefs. I think that's the upset that we're looking at with the AFC playoffs that I see happening.
Okay, so that's where you stand on that happening.
Yes, I do. I believe if the Titans make it in, and I think they will, that they are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
I love it.
You heard it here first.
I can't go against you, but I'll try to pick something different here. So AFC playoffs. So we have Titans and Chiefs, and then the other game would be the Texans and the Bills.
Yep.
Yes.
Dude, I'm taking Bills over the Texans. I'm putting hard money down on that game.
Yeah, I can't argue on that one, dude. I've got to take the same. I just don't see that happening.
There you go.
Yep.
NFC.
That would be the Bills' first playoff win since the Jim Kelly days, right?
Yeah. I think. Well, have they had a playoff win?
I think they lost to Jacksonville a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think there was something that they got in and lost in the first round.
Bortles year where they were chasing the Super Bowl. I think they beat Buffalo in the first round. They had Tyrod Taylor.
Yep. Yeah,
I can't speak on that because my memory is so terrible.
You just shake your head like I do and say yes.
Yeah,
no, I remember actually. I think, but no, the NFC.
I remember. I think.
The NFC though, dude, I'm looking at that and it's not clear to me. I don't know what to think as far as the wild card weekend. I feel like it's totally a toss up.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings against the Eagles.
No, I think it would be the Seahawks at the Eagles and Vikings and the Packers.
Yeah. Well, the Packers have an opportunity to get either the first seed, second seed, third seed, or fifth seed.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little too early.
It could be a little too early
to try to even talk about that. But, I mean, dude, total yards right now, Green Bay 250, freaking Minnesota 106. 106, and they're still winning.
Yeah, but Minnesota, they have any is there any skin in the game for them? Can they move up or down really at all?
Yeah, they could take the division.
Yeah.
That's still at large. I thought Green
Yeah.
Bay pretty much locked that up.
No, there's only one. Minnesota has to win out, and basically Packers have to lose out. I think is what it amounts to.
To win the division.
Yeah,
Okay.
because after this game, if Minnesota won, they would have the same record. So I'm assuming they have the tiebreakers why they need Green Bay to lose.
Okay.
NFC playoffs, I would say that Seahawks game, probably would take the Seahawks, but just barely. I mean, really it could go either way. Seahawks, I mean, did you guys see the list of running backs that they've got hurt right now?
That's why they're bringing back Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, baby.
Miles said that he just left. It was on Twitter. He
Yeah,
just left the
Schefter.
facility.
According to my sources, he had just left the facility.
Miles Schefter.
Yes.
Yeah, he took the physical and everything. So I mean, I don't see how he's not going to be doing it. So
Yeah, I want to see that. It's gonna be good appointment television.
So Mike, maybe you can shed light on this. Was he not playing? Was he out? Was he retired, or was he just not signed? Or
He's not signed. Well, retired is kind of a loose term these days.
Right.
Used to about 10 years ago and before, players would leave the game and they'd sign their retirement papers and turn them in. It was a big deal once somebody turned in their retirement papers because you guys remember Favre retired like 6 years in a row, but he
Yeah.
never turned the papers in. So everybody's like, you got to watch. Well, now like nobody does it. So people retire all the time and just never. There's never anything behind it. They just
Right.
stop playing. And they just consider him retired. So I guess for all intents and purposes, he was. I mean, he got hurt early last season and didn't play for probably like the final 10 games and then hasn't played on a team this year. I think the concern when they called him up today was, what kind of shape are you in? Have you kind of stayed up, where you can come in and plug in the last couple of weeks of an NFL season? And once they get that out of the way, I think they'd sign him because it's essentially the same offensive system they've had there. I mean, there's been some tweaks, and Wilson is more of the focal point of the offense. But, I mean, that Lynch can come back in there and know what the protections are and know exactly what the playbook schematics are going to be. And he's not going to be lost in the huddle where if you bring one of these guys off the practice squad, they're bound to fuck it up. You're going to have fumbles. You're going to have guys that are blowing blitz pickups, and Wilson gets knocked out. And I don't even know who they had behind Wilson, but I'm guarantee you don't want that guy in there.
No, I don't either.
I don't even know who does Seattle have?
I have-
Brennan?
It's been a long
God,
time since anyone's had to look. Wilson's been – I mean, one of the reasons why he's been as good as he has is because he's so durable.
yeah.
I don't think he's ever missed a game.
I don't think not due to injury.
Geno
Yeah,
Smith.
Geno Smith.
No way.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's
wow.
right, because they had the coin toss thing the other day, and there was like two different sides. They were playing like San Francisco or somebody. The 49ers had like 5 guys come out as captains, and Geno Smith was the one captain they sent out for overtime.
Jeez.
I remember hearing that on Florio, and I was like, wow, Geno Smith. And then just as quickly forgot about it. 'Cause
How can you not? It's Geno Smith.
Sorry, Geno,
Understandably
for
so.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, all right, do y'all think there's any coaches that are going to be let go after next week?
oh, yeah.
Like, is it like who?
Garrett?
Who?
Garrett, well, he's technically going to be out of a contract, so does that count? Jason Garrett?
Yeah, well, if he doesn't get re-signed, he's fired.
What about Bengals? Have they already
This first
made a
year, I
move?
think he gets a pass.
Dude,
I didn't
but
realize
his
that's
first
where they
year
were at.
to go
I thought they still
that
had the same
bad
leader coach.
down.
They have a new coach this year, the Bengals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because Marvin Lewis has been there since like 04.
Yeah, he's
Came out
finally
with-
gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm not up to date with my Bengals.
Yeah. Nobody is. The Bengals aren't even up to date on the Bengals, man.
They've been awful this year. I mean,
No,
those
that-
glimpses I've seen of them have been really, really bad. So I mean, and it's been a lot more trendy, if you can say it's trendy, but it's been a lot more common here the last few seasons for coaches to get fired after 1 year.
Yeah.
I can name probably 4 or 5. We're used to that never happened. Guys got at least 2 seasons, and they had to suck to get fired after 2 seasons. Zach Taylor, I think he can say he's starting to build something. They've got the first overall pick, and he can work with whatever quarterback comes in. But they're going to have to win some games next year.
Get a
Yeah.
quarterback. In the
I
Dolphins.
don't know who else. I don't know who else is on the hot seat for this next week that hasn't already been let go this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, surely, Doug Marone's gone. I mean, I don't see how that can be a question.
I don't know. I mean, I honestly go back and forth on that because they got rid of Coughlin, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like whenever all that went down, like if you're going to get rid of Coughlin, why not just kind of push the rest of them out at the same time and do a full house clean? So they may be planning to keep him for one more season. I really don't know on that one.
Would it be against the grain to do something like that, though? To have a general manager come in and continue with this legacy coach? I don't know.
Well, they didn't get rid of the general manager. Yeah.
Huh?
They still have a general manager.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Coughlin was just some kind of
a vice president of football operations.
Superiority role, yeah. Okay.
And see, that's how screwed up the culture is there is because no one really knows who's running the show there. And I think Coughlin just made it so confusing for him to be gone. They may just look at it and say, okay, well, Caldwell and Marone should get 1 year without Coughlin and see if they're the problem. I mean, they've been patient enough. What was it? Gus Bradley was there before?
Yeah.
And they stuck with Gus Bradley way too long. He had the worst winning percentage of any coach has ever coached 3 or 4 seasons. Sorry.
Thanks, Mike.
I only have so many stats, man. I'm trying to use them all.
That's all right. I'm just sitting here clicking back and forth between stats and still fucking it up.
But Peacock, you gotta let me fly.
Oh, they fly about as much as a penguin. It's great. Yeah. Anybody want to add anything to it?
I can't think of anybody else. I mean, I want Freddie Kitchens to go. I don't know if I'm gonna get my wish on that though.
What do you guys think about the NCAA championship?
Not a damn thing.
No.
I
think Jalen Hurts needs to sit on top of his high cotton that he's shitting in right now and give a couple of these to Nick Saban.
Yes, I agree.
I would love to see that.
Oh, I would too. I would absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Good for him.
I've never, I've watched football. I mean, I've watched college football, but it's never been something I'm like, I can't get into it like the people. I live in Tennessee.
Yeah,
and I can't imagine how it is down there for you, Mike.
You got to get the good games, man. Like this year, there was only really one good game, and it was LSU or Alabama. LSU and Alabama. That was a great game.
The LSU and Georgia game was a good one. I actually did watch that championship.
LSU,
the SEC championship.
Yeah, it was fun. SEC is the only one to watch, man. All the rest is noise.
I agree. But is that because I live here and this is what I know? Or
no, it's fact. Because when I watch March Madness, I don't go watch the SEC. I'm watching the ACC or Pac-10. I'm watching games who's the other one that has all the basketball? Kentucky. That's the only SEC team that I'm looking at when it comes to basketball. So you just got to know your flavors,
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Because you're right. The SEC hasn't done shit in basketball except for Kentucky.
That's it.
Yeah, that is
college basketball is almost a completely different thing from college football. I mean, it might as well be two completely separate worlds.
Yep.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
That's just the way it is. I mean, even if I live in the the Mid-America Conference. I don't pay any attention to that nonsense.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
I know there's Pac-10, and then there's like kind of Pac-10 is like all like the West Coast, and then outside of that, there's a bunch of like these up and down sort of
all Atlantic, and just
we're all kind of like hang out and join hands and kind of make it like we're a conference. I can't make sense of it, but it's kind of like the same thing up in the New England area as well.
Yep.
But it's not just a homer perspective to answer your question, because it's most of your NFL players' first couple rounds are going to come out of those SEC schools every year. All the big games of the SEC teams, and all these California teams and Oregon and
it's linemen. It's linemen that are coming out.
Yes, defense.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. All the big guys.
Yeah. And the big guys come to the SEC, but I just heard the sound effect Miles put on. I believe when you said something about the USC.
UFC.
No, USC.
USC.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of the. Am I saying that?
Yeah. You got sound effects now?
No, I just no.
When did we get a budget?
That was self-made. No, that was in the budget, so we're good.
Nice.
All right. So what are y'all doing for Christmas?
Nothing.
Eat and sleep and a hope.
Yeah, I gotta go out of town and go to work right after Christmas. So
Dang.
fun
Nice.
times.
Wow.
No, I got to get up about 5 a.m. tomorrow. I got to go out and do the other 50% of my Christmas shopping.
Oh no.
It's going to be great. No, I've got a plan. And it sounds like I didn't have a plan to begin with, but so I get paid twice a month, and the second check drops on the 25th, which is Christmas, so they back it up a day. So it always comes in on Christmas Eve every year. So you always have your life situations that pop up. And you're like, all right, man, I'm going to slide some of this into the next one. That's what tomorrow is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out and run the crazy mile. But here's my thing. So all of the idiot bastards that you normally have to fight in traffic, they're going to sleep in a little bit. They're all going to go out and get shit-faced tonight, kind of hanging over. So if I get out at 5 a.m. and the store is open, I have 3 or 4 hours of peace. I can probably get it finished, get home, and no one will be the wiser. But if you wait past like that 8 or 9 o'clock mark,
No.
I mean, this last weekend.
Hell no.
This last weekend, Jenny works at Kohl's now as like a part-time job, and she was out here, and I had to go up there to drop something off to her. Hey, Mom.
Hey,
You're on the internet.
Mom.
No, you're good. You guys are waiting for me to have a guest on the show.
Hey.
There
But
you
no, I
go.
went up there, dropped something off to her, and almost got killed 3 times backing out of a Target parking space.
Oh God.
Yeah, once
we-
is enough.
Yeah, me and Jessica went to my uncle had a little Christmas dinner at Texas Roadhouse tonight over there in the Coles area in Hendersonville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for fuck's sake, dude!
It's a nightmare over there.
Oh, it's a nightmare over there on a regular weekday now with it being this close to Christmas. Oh,
Stay away.
yeah, it's
Big play's
ridiculous.
not worth it.
Well, guys, y'all have a good one, man.
You too.
All right,
Hey,
man.
well, before we go, let's talk a little bit about Miles's fantasy football. Where are you at right now?
Let me see.
Yeah, Miles is doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I am in the Super
Wow.
Bowl. If I win, I get $100. If I lose, I get 60.
Oh yeah, so
Currently, it is 112 for me to 90.
oh.
He say Boone. He's got Boone and Adams playing tonight. So
And it's in
I'm
the
loving
third
this
quarter
defense.
now.
Go get it, man.
yes.
Yeah, I'm currently playing for third. I had the best team in my league all year long and bombed last week. And so I've got just a little bit. No, you can't really see it, can you?
Nah. Oh, I
I'm no
see it
longer
now.
required with a picture of Andrew Luck. So I'm actually ahead by 6 points right now. If things keep up, I'm going to win my money back for being in the league. So that's good.
Oh
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
dude! I
Hell yeah.
squeaked in. I was in 4th place, and 5th and 6th had the same record, 7-7, but my points were more. And then,
Yeah.
and then I
That's
dominated last week.
That's the team that's dangerous, man. That's why you made it. It's
I
because
know.
it's always the squeaky teams, not the ones that you can count on.
No.
All right. Well, next year you convinced me, Miles. I'll find a league and I'll get back into it next
Sure.
year.
Dude, you can get into mine. I'll offer you every year. I'm like,
I'll do it next year. I promise. I will.
Good.
All right.
It,
write it down.
it helps me keep up with what the hell's going on too. Obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
It
So-
forces you to watch games you otherwise have no interest in.
Right. It makes all of football more interesting.
It
so.
does.
True dad.
Yep. Well,
All
y'all
right.
have a good Christmas.
You too.
All right, peeps. Y'all
All
too.
right.
Later.
Later.
Seizure. Ah.